Well, as the sign said, my name's Allan. I'm going to do a presentation which I did 28 years ago, but I've cut it down. I've took a lot of the information out of just the bullet points now, the basics, but the full presentation is still online if anyone wants to see it later. Out of curiosity, how many riggers we got in the room right now? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many advanced packers? Perfect. Okay, and you're just interested in equipment, are you?
I like to know how it works.
Oh, perfect. Okay, there you go. Okay. What I'm going to do is a quick presentation about safety information because, in my view, safety information is the foundations of reserve packing and rigging. You know, if you don't know all the things that have gone wrong in the past, you've no idea of how to prevent them from happening in the future. So to me, it's the foundations. So I created this database of safety notices a long time ago. I presented it to the Riggers Committee, and they didn't want a computer in their room back then. So it didn't get approved. Nobody wanted a computer, well, a few people. Since then, however, now Skyvault's just kicking into touch and starting up. There's no reason why we can't have this as part of the system. And it should be an information out there, so we are giving riggers and advanced packers the right tools to do their job safely. That's the aim of what this is about today, giving people the tools to do the job properly. So, the Safety Information Database. It's SID, as I call it for short. It's an online collection of safety notices from around the world. It's not just BPA, or British Skydiving safety notices and safety information. Any single manufacturer has put out safety information, it's in the database. Every single parachute association around the world that's put out safety notices is in the database. I spent hundreds of hours speaking to all associations, every manufacturer, collecting everything, and putting it into this database, which took a lot of time. So I had everything I needed to do my job when I'm inspecting reserve or repairing a parachute system. So it's not just a British skydiving system, but from my views, it should be presented and promoted from where we are. It's a quick and easy method, so we know about every safety notice. Now, I've had people telling me that I'm not interested in what Germany does or what the French have done, and I just want to know if the BPA's put a safety net, I'll follow it. If they haven't, I don't have to look at it, which is very close-minded in my mind, because the safety information is out there. You need all of it to make sure the kit is safe before you hand that back to the customer. So it's all known safety notices, is what I put down. But what I like about it the most is because it's in a database, I've now got a rigger study guide within it, which means if you're teaching somebody to pack a reserve, if you're teaching somebody to manufacture a pilot chute, what you can do is say, do a quick search on pilot chutes. You get every single safety notice ever been published on a pilot chute. You can see all the mistakes manufacturers have made and riggers have made, and then you can make your pilot chute knowing you won't repeat that mistake. Because nobody invents a new safety notice. Everybody makes the same mistake because they didn't know about somebody else who made that same mistake, right? So the study guide to me is the key thing. So anybody, if I'm teaching to pack a reserve, I'd be like, right, every single incident like tool control we talked about earlier, you look on the safety information published by a lot of different people about tool control, you'll see what's been left in tools, you know? A weight bag, a 7-kilo weight bag was my best one on a PD-126 reserve. I couldn't even pack it in there, right? But it was, you lift this thing up, well, that's a bit heavy. 7-kilo weight, but you won't believe what you find in reserves. So, but knowing what people have done in the past helps you make sure you don't make the same mistakes. But it's also surprising the mistakes that have happened. Right? But it's not just safety notices, it's all type of safety information. For example, British Skydiving puts some about hook turns. A little nice, great, it's in that. So if you want to look up about parachuting section, if you want to look up about tandem section, you can learn nothing about tandems. If you want to look at about flying a ram air parachute, there's a section in there. So anywhere there's been a safety notice ever, it includes it all. So it can all be in one place. That way people coming through the system don't learn from making mistakes, they learn from the mistakes that have been made in the past. Okay? So, and in the past, people rely on memory. I mean, I know a lot of people work on the same rigs all the time, so if you're working on javelins all the time, you don't have to look up safety notices all the time. You know them. But then if you do more rigs and you go into different rigs, by the time I've got so many rigs in my mind that I have to double check now because I'm working on something different all the time. And And my job is more R&D work, so I'm always doing something different from the normal. So I really like to check before I do things. So don't rely on memory. My memory's getting bad now anyway. It's easy and it's all up to date. The idea is every rigger's got his own collection of safety notices, and it's up to you to keep it up to date. If this is run by a parachute association, which was the idea behind the concept in the beginning, is they upload a safety notice. Everybody's got it. All they do is log on, check safety notice, they're there. Everybody who's registered in the database gets an email straight away. So everybody gets a copy of the safety notices, right? But manufacturers, I can give them access to. And I spoke to all the manufacturers when I started this off, and half of them was really enthusiastic. The other half really couldn't be interested or bothered. But things like Sunpath, Rig Innovations, at that time, PD was like, oh, brilliant. We'll upload our own safety notices. We know it gets around the world, and that'll stop the association getting involved. And it'll go to every rigger still, because there's always been a conflict between manufacturer and associations. There always will be anyway. So I gave access to manufacturers as well as the different associations as it goes. That was the idea. So as soon as the manufacturer put a safety notice, British Skydiving will look at it and say, oh yeah, it's already published. We don't have to do anything. Unless they disagree with it, then obviously they can come up with something different. And because everyone's going to the same source, anybody who does find something, like you've come up with one or two I've never seen before, and well, I haven't seen that one. Okay, let's add it to the database, and you go from there. So anybody could add to the database or say, let's get this on there, so it should be added. Then go from there. And I wanted a totally unbiased international system. I didn't want it localized where one association or one individual said, this is the rules we're following. It should be safety information, totally unbiased. And what you do with it is up to you, but at least you've got the information. The suppliers control the quality, so the manufacturers, if they don't like what the associations do, if they put out good safety notices, they know what's being presented, but they've got more details, more knowledge, better photos, and it's easier to publish it in theirs. So direct from manufacturers and parachute associations is the current system, the way it's set up as it is right now. Right? The safety notices themselves, it's great having the index of safety notices. Every person does a reserve repacking course, there's an index of safety notices. And you go through the index and you've got Rig Innovation, you've got 42 safety notices, and you're like, where's the safety notices? You've got to look them up. And it takes a lot of time and effort, and you haven't got it available, and half of them are missing anyway. So the idea behind this is everything you see is there. So as I said, everyone gets an email. But now, this is an old website, because I did this a long time ago. When I started this, I created a Windows 95 floppy installation disk. And then I went to Windows 98 and had to create a new one. And eventually I put it online and then decided, well, I'll put it into a website. And now it's a MyMSQL database, which is designed professionally by a guy I brought in to build it the way I wanted it. And things. It's an old website. It's still active. It's still running. I haven't closed the website, but it's one of my old ones a long time ago. So basically, you've got the safety database, your link. You go to login, and you also got you've got to register, and you've got the user manuals down the side. So you've got, at the time when the BPA said they didn't want it, I tried to make it financially viable. Will anybody pay towards this to get my $3.5 grand back? I paid, nobody did. Could I give it away to free to everybody anyway? But you've got a free and a Skydive registration. You've got riggers in business, and you've got the manufacturers. The difference is any Skydiver can log on and search for their own kit. So now they can check if there's any safety notice on their own kit. It's a very simple, easy system to follow. The riggers in business are people doing it commercially who need a bit more control. And the manufacturer associations, they can upload safety information. So that was the three systems. So you can look at those manuals. They're online. They're still there. You can go to the registration. The registration now links you to the database, but you don't get an automatic access because I have to go through it and give you access, because I shut that down a long time ago. But I can go on and then click, yeah, approve, and give you access to it. So it's not automated now, but it was when I started it. So basically, you log in, and the first thing that comes up is what I call the switchboard. What you've got, an equipment profile, and you've got search for safety information. Those two go together, hand in hand. If you don't want to follow that system, you've got an advanced search. The advanced search means you can look for anything specific. So you can put one container in there, one canopy. The equipment profile I set up so you could put your customer's kit in there. Once you've done it once, you never do it again. Anytime that kit comes back, it's in there. If actually somebody else has got access to that profile as well, because it's a database, they can click on it. All the safety notices come up instantly that's relevant to that kit. So it's the main, the reserve, the AAD, the whole package. It's everything there. So the equipment profile is, you have to give it a name. So I've just called this atom container, right? But obviously I've got the Sabre, the Techno, the Atom, the Cypress in there. And the serial numbers are not really used for searching, but I pull them in there. And the reason I put them in there is because if anybody's lost a set of kit and this comes up and somebody does a search and says, oh, that kit's been stolen, it can highlight it as lost or found or stolen. So you wouldn't be packing somebody's kit that's been stolen, for example. So that helps as well. So I added a few extra features in. The data manufacturer is part of the database search because you only want information that's relevant to that rig. So if you've got a 2020 Javelin, the safety notice going back before then are totally irrelevant because it's been redesigned and done from them. So you only want what's relevant to your equipment, which is the idea we've got here. So once it's in there, you can then go to search for safety notices. Now this was me in Holland when I was doing it at the time. So Tauga Parachute Centre, kit number 2927, kit number 2447, I put them all in there. So when that rig comes back in, I just click that one, it brings up the same equipment all the time, right? I give people a customers because I don't want everyone to know who my customers are. I just give them a customer number. So I select a profile. Once I select a profile, I can then search the database. Now here we've got 61 safety notices on that profile, right? Which is a lot. It's far too many. You don't want to look for 61 safety notices as it is. However, if you see the high duplication box in the corner there, a lot of these are duplicated. So Parachute de France put out a safety notice. British Skydiving puts out safety notices. Parachutes Australia puts out safety. So suddenly we've got 5 people putting out the same safety information, right? So what I've said is hide duplicates. If you hide the duplicate, it goes to the manufacturer's one first. So you just seen one, you get there, you don't have to go for everybody else's, but you usually read that safety notices. So if I go click hide the duplicates, now the 16, that's more realistic. 16 safety notices on one piece of kit is fairly reasonable. So you can look at these by result. You can look at them by date. You can look at them by who's published the information, like the supplier. Was it the BPA? Was it the manufacturer? You can look at him based on the item. I can look for this now, lead seal problems. I remember that, don't need to open it up and read it, for example. LOR, I can remember that so I don't have to view it. But if you're not sure, you can click on view, and now you can look at that safety notice. Or you can search this anyhow you would like, your way of finding what you need. So for example, I've now printed out that report, by the way, because at the time what I was doing is every single rig, every owner, there you go, there's a copy of all your safety notice search. I'd print it out, the parachute case I was working for the time. I'd sign it, but my master rigger's number, because I'm not just British Skydiving now, because I don't trust them. I won't say anything. Right, master rigger 82. So at the time I was working in Holland, and I write down the side. I give it a tick if I've read it and there's no problems, and it complies with that safety notice. Right? I look, not applicable means that's not applicable to that set of kit. And it's information, right? So, you know, LOR recommended on all rigs, it's information for the customer. But I give this to the customer. Right, that is all the safety information on your equipment. So they can go away and, oh, thank you, you know, at least they know the safety information has been searched as well. So I print that out and give it to everybody, right? Now, if I want to read the safety notice, okay, you choose one, click on view. And what I like about it, now you can view it, you can zoom in, you can read everything. So I have got a computer in my rigging workshop, you know, it's a big screen. I'm like, zoom into that. And when I'm working on kit, I can look at the computer straight away and make it go from there. So it's how you use it. The zoom in feature, so you can look at things, but it's quality. So everything you've got within a safety notice, you can now follow it while you're looking at the kit as well. Right? So it's right in front of you there. You don't have to go into an office, look at it, and come back with the equipment. I like the idea of having a laptop or the computer where you're working. Right? So that is what I call the equipment profile. I found a lot of riggers would like never use that. They didn't want to put the custom information. They didn't want to keep it up to date. They didn't want to bother with it. They only use the advanced search. I was like, not a problem at all. If you want to do the advanced search, you just mean you got it 4 times instead of once. So I created the advanced search. And what that allows you to do is now you've got a pull-down menu. However you want to use it, right? You can, every safety notice from a manufacturer, every product. So while Pete was talking, I looked on my phone and I was like talking about this. I typed in atom container on my phone. I zoomed in on that, and I've got 22 safety notices on the atom, for example. So I just looked at it and I thought, oh yeah, I remember that, and I can click on it. So it's all on a phone nowadays. It's so simple and easy. You don't even need a computer anymore, right? So it's not an app. It's actually linked to the website. I guess the right way to go in the future would be an app. But as he was talking, I was looking at the tandem one. I was like, yeah. So instantly, I got information at the touch of my fingers, instantly, straight away, and I can talk about any safety notice that anybody ever talked to me about. And I've got it at the touch of a button, which is what I like. Yeah. You can do a from date. So if your rig was manufactured in 75, everything from 75, you know, or you can get things. But this is what you got on the left-hand side here now. You can do it by the country. So if you only want everything in English, you can choose, you know, British Skydiving. You can choose UK as the thing. There are safety notices in here which are in French. They're in German. Make no sense to me. But actually, the pictures tell you a lot as well, and you can find out what they are about. But if you hide the duplicates, it will go on back to the manufacturer's one. Or you can just do a search for, you know, what the association's done on that same piece of kit. So it's easier to find information, even if it's in a foreign language. The language, the suppliers, is it mandatory, is it recommended? Now, the equipment type and subject are the two that I really wanted them to work with the most, because that's the education section you've got. So the advanced search, they're all pull-down menus. So obviously, it's taken a lot of time to put every single manufacturer in there. And over the years, the manufacturer changed their names. You know, now what are you going to search with? So I've got the name, but when you click on Parachute de France, it'll tell you, see Aries Euro. And then, you know, and so it'll link you to where you've got to search for now, the best I can. About 9 different manufacturers changed the name. And I naturally go to Relative Workshop and, oh, fucking hell, okay. And then you know it's different. But it'll tell you where to go. So they're all in there, all pull-down menus, right? So airborne systems have got 62 safety notices, but when I click on hide the duplicates, there's 11. Sorry, the reserve, there's 11. So you can use the pull-down menu to reduce the selection you receive as you get it. So British Skydiving, they've got 336 safety notices, okay, and you can look at all of them. It's a section there. But if you want to look at what BPA published, it's still BPA in here. I haven't updated it to British Skydiving, so it is what it is. And you can look up student equipment. You can see every single thing that's gone wrong with student equipment that the BPA's published to let people know about. There you go. Now, the rigger study guide. This is the thing I like the most out of it, because you can put up everything. You've got AEDs, you know, we talked about connect links earlier on. You've got main parachutes, you know, free bags. You could look at any particular subject to see what things have gone wrong with that component at any time. Right? So if I type in control toggles, 11 safety notices on control toggles. So you're like, oh, geez, 11 people have made a mistake on a control toggles, or manufacturers have designed them wrong. So you go from there. Reserve ripcow handles, 29 over the years. You know, so by looking at these and reading them all just once as part of a reserve packing course or as part of a rigging course, you can see the mistakes have happened, and you can say, well, I'm never going to make that mistake, because you know what mistakes have happened before, and you know how to check the kit better, so you can pick up any of their mistakes, but you don't make the same mistake. That's what it's all about. All right? And then obviously to upload the safety notices, I've got an add safety notice. This only pops up if you register as an association or as a manufacturer, and I've given you access to that because that's how I control it right now. It goes. But to add a safety notice, you've got to follow the pull-down menus. It's very simple though. Atom container, you give it a title, could be what somebody else has given it, or you know. You put the safety notice number, and you select what you need to select. This is a Dutch one, And then basically, I upload the KNVVL safety notices. So by choosing the file, you upload it into the system, right? And it can be searched the way I've gone through. So once the upload's complete, it's available instantly to anybody, right? So a manufacturer or an association put it out there. At the time, it would email everybody who's registered. It's disabled now because I'm not a lot. There's 30 people using it that I still give access to, but so it's not being used a lot right now. The association, but basically the association don't have to do any work unless they disagree with the manufacturers. That would save a lot of admin time, a lot of time in the association doing things. But if they disagree with what's been said, they can then add their own safety notice to it. To things. So in summary, you can set up an equipment profile, which if you're packing the same rig all the time, I like it. But when a rig comes in and it's got my inspection check sheet with every safety notices, I'm like, well, actually, there's nothing been since. I've got no more work to do. You know, you've searched it. Or you can click on check safety notices just to be sure on that profile, and there'll be 22 safety notices last time. There's 22 now. You know you're covered. No more work to do. So I like having the profile in there, and I can print it out and give it to a customer as well. You can search for specific safety information by all the pull-down menu options. Yeah, so there's an upload area, there's a rigger study guide, and kit reported lost and stolen. If somebody wants to report their kit and lost or stolen, then when you pack their reserve, it'll, hey, this guy said it belongs to him. It can pop up there, yeah. Now, bear in mind, I did this presentation 28 years ago in 1996, right? I've updated it a few times since. This was supposed to be the upgrade of the index of safety notices. 28 years later, we're still using the index of safety notice to give to riggers. I think it's appalling. We're not giving them the tools to do their job. That's why I think now we've got the new computer system, Skydiving, is that what it's called? Why don't you just incorporate it? You know, it should be part of it. It should be easy to use. It should be supporting riggers with what they need, right? Now, I know over the years, since I first presented this at Rigs Committee, John Curtis said I didn't want a computer in the rigging room at the time, and that killed it. And Tony Butler agreed, it definitely died. Since then, 3 riggers have gone to the Riggers Committee and said, can we have a safety notice database instead of the index? The Riggers Committee have put it in their minutes saying this has been requested, we'll look into it. Nothing has ever happened. What I find even more surprising, nobody has ever said, oh yeah, Allan's already got one. Nobody from the BPA and on the Riggers Committee. The riggers don't want this system in the past, right? And they've got their own reasons, and I can talk about them privately. I can't talk about them here now. But if you want a safety notice database where you can get every single safety notice at the click of a button, Skydiving should be able to deal with this. And it should be a tool you give to every packer and every rigger. I think it's extremely important. Whether the Riggers Committee do now, and then Council, STC, if it gets approved, or it'll just say as my little system. Presenting it now because Skydiving's come around. Let's see if anything goes from there. Anybody got any questions about the Safety Information Database? No?
Why didn't we know about it before? It seems amazing. Why didn't we know about this before? I mean, I've only been.
I'm not allowed to answer that here.
Learning to rig for the last year and a half, but this seems like a no-brainer.
It's what we've needed. I give it to every one of my reserve packers. Everybody I'm teaching rigging, I make sure they get a copy. So, you know, if I'm teaching them hands-on, I give this to everybody that I'm involved with because I think it's a tool I give to the people I'm teaching. Without it, I don't feel I'm teaching them right. But it's got to be accepted by the generation. The manufacturers at the time was, we'll join this if the association joins it. The association not joining it. Oh, well, we don't want to be involved then. Because now they've got nothing to worry about. They just do the system they are. Now, if you go on any manufacturer's website, you might find safety notices. Rigging Innovations were the best at the time because they published every safety notice. Another manufacturer, say, were the worst at the time because as soon as it's been out there for a year, they take it off their website because they want people to forget about that safety notice. There's things like 3-ring risers which have failed and killed people because they can't cut away. There's never been a safety notice on it. But there's articles in magazines which are in my database. So I know where it is. I can say, oh, that was reported on that date. This guy couldn't cut away. Why couldn't he cut away? Oh, actually, 6 months later, the three-ring riser system geometry is redesigned, and they lengthen the loop to stop it happening. And then, so you can see the pattern of what's happened. So manufacturers don't like publishing safety information. It also makes them liable. Some do, some don't. But now the Parachute Industry Association itself says we have a responsibility to educate people, to pass it on. It's got better over the years. So it really is down to whoever's dealing with that in the business at the time. So whether the manufacturers agree to it, whether the associations agree to it, the Parachutes of Australia got onto this straight away, gave it to every Australian rigger. When they had a fire in their factory, they lost every safety notice. They called me up, can we get a copy of all our safety notices back? Yeah, of course I can. And I emailed them all to them. So they lost everything. So it's good to have it online. They never had it online at the time. So I've got safety notices in here where you can do a search. It says there's in the index of safety notices, which I created 30 years ago, you can click on that and there's a thing comes up here saying, we know about this safety notices, but I can't find it anywhere. Right? So I know something's been published. Here's the information I know, but I can't find the original copy of the safety information. And that's the best I can do. I didn't want to leave it out, because to me, it's still relevant that I know there was something out there in the past. So will the industry accept this type of thing or not? That's what we have to look at now. And if people want it, you've got to tell the association.
So is this accessible at the moment?
Yes, if I give you access.
And would you give access?
I might do.
Because it's a useful
Are you in the bar later?
thing.
Yeah, basically, what we've got right now is the database is functional. I mean, I just got on my phone and did a quick search there, so the database is in there, it's functional. You can do the registration online here, but send me an email and saying, oh, I've just registered, can you give me access? I can actually go onto the database and, oh, there you are, click, yeah, you've got access. So I can give you access.
And it's comprehensive. Well, if you put a piece of equipment in, it will find every notice on that piece of equipment. You won't miss a thing because the manufacturer didn't give it to you.
No, the idea is this was totally unbiased against any manufacturer's wishes or the association's wishes. It was in there. Whether you use that information or not is up to you. I had an examiner saying, oh yeah, that was published by the manufacturer, but it's not a BPA one, so I don't have to follow it. I know, you know, it is how you use it that counts. So that's how it blows my mind.
I can't see what, I mean, I did the AP course, right, and I can't see, and exactly that, looking through notices and things, a pain in the arse.
It is.
Things, right? And you sort of think that at the time, why is there not just something like this available?
Well, you're not the first one to say that. I mean, we had 3 riggers go to the committee since I did this to say, can we have it?
But I'm surprised that no one, this isn't out there, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they like me.
Well, yeah, whether they like you or not, it's irrelevant, right? Because if this is a useful site, so if one person gets it, they sort of say, oh, look, I use this site. That sort of thing would be...
Yeah. Well, at the time, when I decided, right, let's just make this available to everybody. I'll give a free service for those who want to look at it and check it out. I'll give riggers, you know, pay me 30 quid a year, and you can use this system, right? To try and get the 3.5 grand back I spent, right? Nobody's ever paid me 30 quid a year or whatever. I was going to say 30 quid full time. You can just use it. So I was going to charge a fee for it. But the more I did it, I was like, well, there's no interest in riggers. There's no interest from associations. There's no interest from manufacturers. So I thought, forget it. I'll delete all that, and I'll just keep it as my little system. So it's just my system, but I do give access to people who buy me a beer. Yes?
Alan, how do you know it's being regularly updated?
Well, that's down to me. I'm the only one that updates this. Yeah. So what I've done over the years, I mean, I had 10 years where I wasn't even in the country and doing things. So I don't, any safety notice I get, I upload it. But to be honest, right now, I've got on my in tray, I think on here, I've got add to website. I've got safety notices. So I've got a list of safety notices here that I haven't uploaded. All right? And there's a few of them. And they're only over the last couple of years. So I can upload them and make it up to date. But because I'm being so busy, it's down to me. Because I know nobody else is using it but me, because I've actually gone through the database now. People who used it in the past, they've downloaded every safety notices. Right. I've got somebody, oh, I've downloaded everything. I've got it here now. And I don't want to keep my registration. I'm like, wasn't the idea behind it, but hey, at least you've got all the safety notices there. So I've got a list of safety notices which I haven't added onto it yet, and it's to get around to it. It's in my get around to it in tray. It's only me that uses it really and relevant, and the people I know. And the people I know, I'll talk to them and say, oh, there's a list of safety notices. So there's 5 in there which are relevant that should be uploaded fairly quickly, but I don't need it because I've got my database and I've got there. If it was part of a system, like an association system, the association can say, right, let's upload that now. Or if the manufacturer hasn't done it, let's copy theirs and upload it. So the manufacturer, they're saying, get it from the association and upload it. Everybody gets it instantly, especially if it's linked to the email system. You never have to email a rigger again because they're on it, they'll get it straight away. So I think it's still valid. Yes?
Hi. So my question is, like, as the bottom of the food chain, I am a fairly new skydiver, and I've bought a second-hand rig with some slightly scruffy bits and pieces in it.
Yeah.
At that level, I'd be quite interested in registering the bits of my rig, whatever's relevant, onto your website as a piece of kit, as is or broken into bits, so that it can be traced and the relevant notices come up to whoever
They would. You'd see
is
them all.
packing it. So it's like the other way around. I'd potentially pay, you know, a £5 a piece or whatever. So maybe that's another way of considering funding this.
If you're buying a set of kit and you want to make sure it's free of safety notes, perfect. That's what it's for. That's exactly what it's designed for.
What are you looking to do with this now then? Are you looking to sell this to British Skydiving?
I actually thought this is just going to die a death with me, and I was never going to mention it again ever to British Skydiving because I fell out with the BPA because of the money I spent on this, and then they didn't want it, but they approved the payment. Anyway, it's a big story. So I've not done anything for the association ever since. So my relationship with the British Skydiving is, if you want it, it's there. But you're going to pay for what it costs, not me. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep it for me. You know, and that's just out of principle now, more than anything else. So I know what I've paid out on it. I still think it's a valid system. So even if I've had 2 guys actually copy this now, copy all the information in there, and say, I've put all this on the internet. So there are other ways of finding this safety notice now. And I know the my safety notice because it got my headed paper across the top on the ones that's there. And they put it onto, but then you've got to manually search for what you want. You've got to go on that website. You've got to look, rig innovations. You've got to go do this. And it's a nightmare. Why don't we have it in a database? If the BPA want it, they've just got to agree to pay what they agreed all that years ago. I'm not greedy. I don't want any money for developing it. But it's available if they want it. And as SkyVault's now available again, there's no reason why I don't think they can say we should have it. That's my view. But somebody's got to tell them. Somebody's got to say we would like this. But they will then do their due diligence, I guess, and see if it fits into the system. That's what it is. I think it should still go back to manufacturers. And an association sending a link out to every manufacturer saying, look, if you support this and upload, then we don't have to do it. You're going to get all the manufacturers on side. So, but it takes somebody to do it. If I died tomorrow, this is going to die with me. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to die tomorrow.
Isn't
do you know?
in their interest? Are all the manufacturers get together? I'm a new boy at this,
Yeah.
brand new, 12 months. Isn't it in the manufacturer's interest that they pool the information together? Because if someone gets old information and acts on it, and then something goes wrong,
This is why it's date relevant. If you bought a rig brand new, say in 2020, the date's in there. You get everything from then till now. You don't get the history, unless you really want to look at the history. For me, that was important because I don't want to look for 1,000 safety notices that are not relevant to the kit I'm working on. Manufacturers' views. I've been involved with the Parachute Industry Association for years. I was a PIA member. Went to the committee. I've done talks at the symposium about this and other things. I've been involved with them for years. And over the years, you see how the manufacturers have changed their attitude to safety information. They do want people to know that there's something wrong and they've got a solution to solve it. Right? Whereas in the past, it was like, I don't want anybody suing me. I don't want anybody to know. You know? So the attitude has changed, and it's changed because the industry's grown and developed, and it's changed because the association itself is saying, guys, we've got to be professional here and all this. So again, I was even going to take this to the Parachute Industry Association. Come on, put it into your system. But now they've changed so much that you've got to be a member of the PIA to get half of those documents. It was all free in the past. You can go on and look at the PIA pack volume study 104. And you can, now you can't. It's all you remember what you're going to do. So everything's changed over the years as well. You can still find things. So the financial side has definitely kicked in to everything. And that's just life, I'm afraid. But it's available. Any safety notices on here, I'm sure you will. Well, actually, I'd say probably about 70% of the safety notices in here you'll find on the internet if you do a lot of search. There's information I've got thanks to other riggers that helped me build it at the time. Ian Robertson gave me a load of information in the past I'd never seen before. And I was a rigger examiner. I'm like, why do I know about this information? So I was surprised, and it's information that was valid. So thanks to the other riggers giving me stuff, Ian Robertson supported this and gave me all his, and then I put his in there, and he had his on a spreadsheet. So I just converted them and created a PDF document that I could upload that had the information that you want. So it's not 100%, yeah, you've got these fancy coloured photos of everything on the safety notices, but the modern ones, if you're looking for the rig you're working on, it will be, which is basically what it should be about. It's from now to move forwards. But I still get a 1977 Wonder Hog to pack now and again.
Lucky you.
Bit more modern now. My Atom container is 35 years old. The one I jumped, 35 years old. Been rebuilt 4 or 5 times, but it's 35 years old. It is triggers through, yes. Right? So, you know, I look at that and I'm like, actually, I should look back then. But now I look at the safety notices for the Atom and the Atom Millennium, and I'm like, oh, I don't want that cutter on the bottom. I want it on number 3 flat, but on number 3 flat, it looks terrible. So I want it down the bottom. And I'm thinking, oh, got to make it look terrible because there's a safety notice on it. There's no way I can make it look nice. So I redesigned my Atom to my new model, my version. I build and design parachutes anyway, so I get away with it as a manufacturer now. But there's information out there. If you want on a kit and it's available, you have to search it. Every advanced packer should be given this. Every rigger should be given this. Anybody who's a British skydiving member should be saying, you want to check your kit, go on here. At least you can see if your rigger's done their job right, if they don't know about it. Not saying we're policing riggers. Maybe we should be, I don't know. So is a system there. That's how I created it. I think it should be used. I'd be happy if the BPA, British Skydiving, took it on board as their new system. But I'm not giving it away now because I fell out with them. That's it.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much.